Welcome back to Life and Style Relationship Wednesday. I'm your host, Chris Jetemo. We are on Talk to Pastor Chris, coming to you from the Clarence House right here in Westlands at the School Lane, and we're on the 7th floor. Right here, there is a restaurant, there's a poolside, there is a bar over there, so you can bring in your family, you bring in your kids, they'll be swimming, you would bring in your business meetings, you just want to hang out. Up from here, you'd have a very good view of the city, so make sure you visit this place. I've got an amazing panel today, and we've got such a great topic too that we want to just get your views, your thoughts, your perspectives on. So get to our social media platforms at KTN_Life_ for both Twitter and Instagram, KTN Life and Style for Facebook. 22840 is your text message number. We want to hear your thoughts because today we're asking, what is the role of men in relationships? Well, that's broad, but I think we're going to put it in perspective because we'll look at what men used to do before and what are men doing right now. I'll begin with Jenny because you've been married over 40 years. In the past, the roles of men seemed to be very clearly defined. Is that the case now?
The role of man has not changed. The man still has his duties. You have to provide for your woman, make her happy, and do everything just to prove to her that she's the one.
The role God gave a man is to be the head of the family and to be the spiritual head of the family, to direct his family, to lead them in the ways of God and to lead them in everything that concerns the family, directing them towards God. So that has changed, but I think it should be changed back.
Well, the role of men was really very clearly defined. I mean, a man was the leader of the homestead or the community. A man was the provider. He went out to hunt and bring the meat home. He protected his family. You know, he was the warrior. And a man was a teacher. He taught his wife, his family, and led them in every direction. The man was the priest of the home. He taught them about how to love God and to serve Him. And that's really what is the idealistic view, and basically a man was the one who took every punch when it came to the home.
All right.
The man today, too much Cerelac. I am not sure what really went wrong. None at all. I'm not sure what happened.
Is it your fault, Laimari?
It's our fault, but it's true.
Is it your fault? Have you empowered the girls so much that the man is displaced?
No, there's nothing like over-empowering anyone.
All right.
That's the equivalent of saying, Pastor Chris, you look too healthy for your girls. Your health is getting threatening now. No, you can't empower somebody because all you want to do is get every human being operating at the optimum.
Okay.
But I just think that, for me, my observation is that the men today need to redefine who they are and the role that they play, because now they're not going out hunting and gathering. So they have to think about what are they hunting. They can't be going to hunt women. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, because before they're going to hunt and bring the meat home.
Okay.
They're going to be feeding their families. And they have to go deeper. Before, we used to be impressed because a man is driving. But today, we are also driving. Right. So the man has to go deeper into his soul and say, what value am I bringing to this woman? Right. And that's what we are yearning for. We are yearning for deeper connections. Okay.
Yeah. Is there an identity crisis for the contemporary man based on the roles that they used to play before? And
well, I think every generation redefines what different gender do, the roles of gender. I think for a long time in the traditional society, it was clearly defined. Now we have to redefine because of what has happened. So a lot of the men are more lost than ladies are. And I think it's a general fact, psychological fact, that women are better at bouncing back and being able, because of their relational nature, than men. So I agree with you, Laimani, that we need to redefine ourselves. Because the roles are still there. Hunting, we still hunt, but differently.
What are we hunting?
The things we need to do. But from a man's psychic, we are still hunting. For that money, for that business, for that. But we're not the only ones in the field. I think that's what has changed.
Yes.
So the ladies are there in the field. What has happened for a lot of men is that we got left we still, hang on to what used to be. And we are romanticizing with that, but it's moved on. We need to change and redefine ourselves. So actually, that's why one of the big things we do with Man Enough is redefining masculinity.
Okay.
What does it mean to be a man? Not just defined by the roles you play every day, but the depth of your heart, by your character, by the way you relate with other people. How do you redefine yourself? Well, there's something she said, which I also agree. That's why I said there's going to be a lot of compliments. That we cannot stop empowering the girl child to wait for the boy child to catch up. I think the way society used to be, men used to mentor the boys. I mean, there was the fireplace where men sat around and talked about themselves and who they're becoming, mentored the boys through rites of passage and things like that. That broke down. The beauty of ladies, they're so relational that they don't need a structure to relate and to mentor each other. They just need to be together and they'll relate. Men are not like that. Relationships have to be structured. If they're not structured, they won't happen. So we sort of have to
Are we that complicated?
Yeah, well, we're that simple. I prefer to look at it that way, that unless we structure mentoring of boys, it's not going to happen.
Okay.
I have a friend of mine who does a lot of mentoring of girls, and you do as well. And she's oversubscribed. More ladies want to mentor girls than girls are available. For us, it's the opposite. We are saying we want to mentor boys, and men are saying, I don't think I know how to do that. Train me first and show me how to do it. So times have changed. We need to regain our standing. Yes, there's an identity crisis of men around the world, really not just here. And we need to talk together and find our place again in this changed society.
Jenny, one of the things that men used to do, and like Manny has talked about it, we used to provide. You spoke about it. We used to provide. So men used to go out, bring the money, pay the bills, do everything. Today, their wives, their daughters are doing the same. How does this man come back? We're not going to stop empowering the girl child. She still needs to get her job, get her money. She's also sharing sometimes. In some cases, they're sharing in the bills. How do we bring the man back to the place where he's a leader, even if he is not the sole provider or the primary provider? How do we get the man back there?
Men are always known to be providers of the family. They provide for the basic needs. Again, they are known for offering security to the family.
Values have been altered a lot in life, money and position. So a lot of times, like when women get positions of honor and, like in terms of work and everything, they feel maybe they should usurp that role of a man who is traditionally supposed to be the head of the family. So I really feel people should submit, as God says, a woman should submit to her man. And if she does that, the man would also feel empowered to take up that role, that God-given role to be the head of the family.
Well, that's a real fact. And one of the major issues is about the way that they are socialized.
Okay.
You are a man, so you are the one who is supposed to provide. You are the man, you are the one who's supposed to be the one earning the money, which is really not the case, because many times, actually, the women earn a lot more than the men. But it's a cycle. A man in his formative years may not earn a lot of money, and the women earn more. But at the later stage, the cycle changes, and the man begins to earn a lot more because they take a little longer to blossom.
Okay.
Now, it is very important to know that it's not the money that defines you as a man.
Okay.
It's the role you take, it's the headship, it's the respect that you attract from the partner and from your environment, so that you can be respected for the position that you do hold. For the women, it's very difficult for a woman that's earning a lot of money to respect the partner. It's very difficult.
I was about to ask that.
It's very difficult because they don't want to take instruction. They are able to buy the car they want, for example. A woman wants to get herself a Mercedes, and the man feels that she needs a Toyota. And the woman says, I can afford it. Why should I not have it? It's all about socialization and understanding that that money belongs to a family kitty.
Okay.
So when the woman makes the money and the man doesn't have, the money doesn't belong to the woman. It belongs to us. And so in the absence of understanding that a family unit is not about who makes more money than the other, it's a partnership, not only where money is concerned, but also in raising the children. I have seen families today decide that the man is the one that's going to take time out while the woman goes on her job because she's the one with a better job, and the man stays home and takes care. Does that mean that that man is weak in any way? No, it's for a season.
I know the elders would call Simon over that. You know, the elders would say, our son.
Talking about provision, even before you get to that, unfortunately, also, you talked about socialization.
Yes.
Some of the girls are socialized.
Yes.
Your money is your money.
Yes.
His money belongs to
our money. Yes.
You see, that is also wrong.
Yes.
In that you're saying that if a man has money and they define themselves by money, sometimes the ladies then also do the same on the opposite side, where you expect to use, and maybe you're earning more than me, but you expect me. Even though now you're saying I also bring in money, but you expect me to take care of you and take care
Don't you think that because for a very long time the women mostly felt dependent on men economically, then when they empowered themselves, that is one key area that they look at in how they define their relationship with the men? Don't you think that played a role? Like, this is, I used to depend on you for this, now I have mine.
But mine will take care of my private needs, and then ours takes care. And part of it is just the way marriage used to be set up those days. I mean, my father was like 20 years older than my mother, so naturally she's going to look up to him for everything. I mean, she still worked. It's not like our mothers never provided. They worked. They did a lot of things, just that we did not define the value of that. But they were contributing to the family kitty. Things have changed right now. And this is now the challenge some of the men I talk to, like Mani are saying, that this lady that I'm dating is probably earning a lot more than me. But she expects me to pay for every meal, for every date. And so the man is also feeling getting economically, misused here. Some of them feel like that. It's not about whether I pay the bill or not. It's about our relationship.
It's true. It's about our relationship. So if you have 100 shillings, take me to a place where you can afford.
Would you accept that life?
Most of the ladies are the ones saying, let's go to Kempinski or go to this place.
I think we have really, and I don't know at what point we have, because even now this conversation here has become about money. At what point did our relationships become about money? I think we need to go back, Pastor Chris, to the foundations of our relationships. Because once we go back to the foundations, what brought these two people together, not are the foundations of making a marriage effective. Because we cannot make it about the money, because at one given time there's someone who will have more, someone will have less. And if you understand that you have come together as helpmates to where help meets the other, so it doesn't matter who has brought the money or who hasn't. But also I have, my other observation is this. Even for the men, the moment that a woman is earning more than he is, how does he begin to respond to her? Does he start to feel lesser of a man? And does he begin to feel, therefore, I need to assert myself in different ways, because even before the woman starts responding a certain way, the man's already feeling like I
need to tame her.
Yeah, I need to tame her. I need to still assert my place in this place.
I like what you're saying about money. Maybe just something to put in there. I love what you're saying. It should never be about money. But the reality is, it's so much about money. I don't know why, and it's wrong. Economic power seems to make people feel like I am one up over you in terms of relationships, unfortunately, both ways. Both ways. And I like the conversation because we are desocializing our people to realize it should never be about money, but the reality is about money.
No, and
that's why we're doing sponsorship and things like this.
I'll add on to that, and I'll say this. I don't know who said there is no romance without finance. but there is no romance without finance to a large extent. Number two, over 75% of couples divorce or have money
Yes.
arguments,
Money issues.
and out of the money arguments, the relationships are either very challenged or they end up in divorce. That's the number one. Not infidelity,
Yeah, it's
not
true.
nothing. It's
That's
all
true.
about money.
Money speaks, yeah.
So money speaks. So the truth about money is that it's really not the money per se. It is about what money means to us.
All right.
It's about the emotions that money evokes in us when in need or when in plenty. So when you are in a relationship and you do not have that money or the bill paid, for example, it can simply mean to this woman there's no security with this man. So it's not that he hasn't paid the bill. You look at yourself and say, I'm not secure being with Simon. He cannot even afford a 1,000 lunch. So I don't want to be with
And
him.
I hear sometimes ladies, you know, that when they're asking questions, they say, he has never even bought me a gift.
None.
It's not even that they want something expensive. It's like, he has never even bought me
That's
a
a matter of
gift.
principle. Because the matter of principle.
So I'm just trying to enforce the point.
And that's a
that-
very good point that you're enforcing.
Right.
Because it stops being about the money, it stops being about the emotion, it begins to say it's her language of love. Gifts which she has not received. And I meet them all the time. Other than the ring on my finger, the man never bought me nothing all my life. So what does that say to me? Her language of love is gifts.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you need to learn. And just speaking from what you said, it's about the relationship.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's a role you play. There's a time my wife was out of work. And so what I was earning is what was coming. There's a time, because of my nature of work, things were just not working well. And she was bringing in more the money. What I love about the maturity of knowing it's about the relationship, is not what everybody brings, is that I never saw her slight me in any way.
Yeah.
She still respected me. But unfortunately, many times, a lot of men that I talk to were afraid, and I challenge them when they say, I don't want to marry a woman or date a woman who is earning a lot more, has a lot more. And sometimes I tell them, but all of it is for the relationship. So why would you be scared about that? But a lot of them is because they equated money with control.
All right.
They feel like I can't control this person if they're earning more than me. And that's bad. That's bad socialization.
All right.
Unfortunately, in reality, many times, money speaks control.
So why would we be having power games like money in something that is supposed to be, this is supposed to be love? Why would people be feeling the need to have advantage over their partner? Like, I'm earning the more money, so sometimes it's not even spoken. You used to do something called the unspoken, right? Sometimes it's not even spoken, but you can just literally see that there's a way this person expects you to behave because they're the ones who are bringing the bread. They expect a certain, when they talk about submission, they're thinking because I'm taking care of you. And like there is subtle threat. Why would two people in love feel the need to exercise power, authority, or control over each other?
I think it comes from a place of insecurity and low self-esteem. Because if I am insecure, then I want to look for external ways to make myself feel secure.
All right.
So money becomes one of the things that I'm using. It can be my position. It can be where I'm working, my job title, so that if I lose that job, I no longer feel very well respected in the relationship. But I think it has to do with the security and where your security comes from. Are you a secure person? And your level of esteem, which means your level of self-worth. Where do you draw your self-worth from? So I believe that if you have two people who are, each of them is secure in who they are and they have a sense of a healthy self-esteem, then you are not likely to enter into a competition because really you've got nothing to prove.
Right.
Okay? And so people who are insecure try to get to feel secure by controlling and manipulating others and trying to bring them down to their level. Then only then do they feel, now
They're powerful.
I'm whatever, I'm puffed up and all that. So I think that security and low self-esteem would be the main causes.
All right, someone want to say something?
That's important, but I also wanted to speak to the men, and I love what you said, but wanted to speak to the men, because I have my daughter, she's 16, in a few years, maybe 5 or 10, she's going to be getting married. I don't want a dude to come to say they want my daughter's hand in marriage, and he does nothing. is not working, is not providing for his part as well.
I was going to ask you about this because the earlier days I heard about you were doing something talking about men who were called the pink men, men who were weak. So we don't define men by their money, but then how do I get to know this man has a problem?
Yeah, I think if a man is, those are men who just depend on others. Maybe they were depending on their mom, and now they're coming into a relationship to depend on their woman. The woman is working very hard, but the dude is just staying at home and waiting for the money. Of course, that's wrong. What we're saying is both of us need to exert ourselves. We have giftings, we have jobs that we do. We need to look like we are working. It's understandable when the lady in the relationship is more gifted, so earns more, has better job. But you're not just sitting there. You're trying your best. You're giving your best to this. Because both of us are saying we're pulling our weight in this relationship. So a lot of men, unfortunately, especially those who love to be supported all the time, they're just lazy. And I just tell them, you cannot begin to say, I don't have a job, and so I should be supported. And you're just sitting home all day, and you're not trying to do something. That's wrong. That's wrong. I wouldn't respect you as a man in that way. So at least pull your weight, do your work, make sure you have a work ethic. And if you don't get a job, even the woman will understand. You're trying your best, and it's okay.
I was talking to some young men the other day and saying women love to see men pursuing something. Of course, not pursuing other women, but pursuing something. That's why men on the pitch pursuing a ball are so attractive to them. Men who are pursuing goals. So what you're saying, even if he's not earning as much as the lady, but the woman can see pursuit. There's clarity of vision. There's a mission to his life. There are goals. He's self-driven. He doesn't have to be told in the morning, please go out and try something. That in itself is leadership, right?
Yeah. That's leadership, and that brings respect. You're at least doing something. You're trying. And the security will come to the lady, even if you're not bringing the money yet, but it can't be like that for like 10 years. You're still pursuing something. You've got to get to a point where you do something.
You're waiting upon the Lord.
Yeah. That is misused a lot. And you're not doing anything. But also just to say, for a lot of men, talking for the men, a lot of men go through a business, the men generally take more risks. That is changing. But psychologically, men are more likely to jump off something and try to start a business even when there's not much promise. We just take more risks, and it needs to be guided risk. And so sometimes we go through failure, that your business did not work. And a lot of men take failure very hard, like a definition of your masculinity. And instead of rising up to do something, they're more likely just to sit and say, I've been beaten by life. And so I challenge the man that failure is not the end of yourself. As someone says, fail forward and pick yourself up. It cannot be your wife who's picking you up all the time, or the girl in your life. You've got to be man enough to pick yourself up and say, that was a bad day, there's another day tomorrow.
Jenny, aside from money, what is the role of a man today in the life of the partner or the woman? Sometimes they both are doing very well, where money is not even a question. Sometimes they're even established. So it's not about who brings in the bread. There's a bakery, so there's no need to bring in the bread. So in that case, what's the role of this man? What would you advise a man in trying to find himself in his family? Are the roles that he would take up?
I'm also thinking a better way to also answer us as ladies is, what else do you want from us? What is it that when a man is to you, you really feel like a lady?
Like a lady. Well, I think first and foremost, a woman needs to have a sense of security. And so whatever the man does in his role, he needs to provide that level of security in pursuit of something. Failure will come and go. But one of the greatest challenges that affect women is lack of trust. And the man is not trusted because I may make all the money, he makes the wrong decisions without consultation. And so I would say that the role of the man is to complement his wife or the woman he's with. to compliment. And you don't compliment by being a competitor.
Right.
A woman is not looking for a competitor. She's looking for someone to compliment. A woman is not in dispute about his masculinity. All she wants is that he will exert himself in the right places.
Okay.
When it's the right time, exert yourself. But when it is time to... Yes. So when it comes to reason together, a woman wants the man to understand, I too have a mind.
All right.
And I too have a view. And so reasoning together and giving her the respect of understanding that she has an opinion is very important.
Okay.
Now, when we make the money, we have no problem about making money. God blesses the works of our hands, and all of us will make the money. But this is the part that I want every man to understand. You want to own the property. You want everything to be in your name. I'm the man here. So the car is in the man's name, the house is in the man's name, the business is in the man's name. What have you done to that woman? She's invested everything that she has, and you choose to call it yours. And you ask the woman, why should it not be? Don't you trust me as your husband? It's not about that.
They're holding it in trust for fun.
Yes, that is the trust. But the reality is, if anything goes wrong, God forbid, the woman walks back to her parents with nothing. So if you want a woman to really give you her heart and her money, she needs to be an equal partner in the investments and in everything that you do. She needs to have that sense of security.
All right.
A man should not be afraid about being vulnerable with his woman.
Okay.
This doesn't mean he's not a man enough. It's okay to be vulnerable.
So she still needs a lover too, right?
A lover too.
Yeah.
When it comes to issues of love, I need a lover. When it comes to money management, I need somebody at a board level, not bedroom anymore, board level. Let's reason together. So when we lose, it's not the man losing. We are losing together. So when you are encouraging one another, it's not about an individual. What is a woman looking for? All inclusivity with her relationships with the man in her life.
Lyman, you know, when she's talking about security, that includes emotional security too, right?
Yes, it does.
She wants to feel emotionally secure.
Yes.
Like,
and also even emotionally connected.
Right.
Yeah, you want to feel that you're connecting with this person. They are thinking of. He has to just what Jenny was saying. There have to be ways of showing this woman that I'm really interested in you. You're this hot in my eyes. You're this hot, and this is what I want to do for you. And you know, that's part of being secure. But you can't be taking me. I tell you, we don't even go out. Then you take us till you say, let's sit outside here. We have gone out. Or if you're
empowered women still need flowers.
Yes, absolutely. I'm still a girl, and it doesn't matter what my age is.
But sometimes
I still need flowers.
Sometimes it's difficult to define that the girl in you, because the man keeps on seeing this boardroom woman in you and keeps on thinking, making assumption she's not that kind of a person, because there's this image that has been portrayed that he does no longer think that things like flowers move you. How is he supposed to deal with that when he's mostly used to the Lyman is sitting over here?
Well, as you answer, one of the things I think men talk about is a woman wants to feel wanted. A man wants to feel needed, and wants to feel like this woman still needs me. In just those simple ways, to bring a flower, to compliment, to affirm. A man wants to be affirmed, but also wants to know, what is it I can do for you to feel useful? And so just to talk to some of the women, there are some men who feel, I don't feel like I'm needed here. Right.
But I think those conversations must happen. We have to keep the channels of communication happening, because I can't take what Pastor Sai here needs and I take it to my man. It may not work with him and for him. He was raised differently, he was cultured differently, his socialization is different, or his personality is also different. So I think we have to keep talking about the things that we care about. We have to keep talking about, how do you feel loved? How would you like me to show love, because only you can show me or take me a tour through who you are and tell me this is how I feel loved, this is how I feel appreciated, this is how I feel needed. I too need to tell you this is how I feel appreciated and loved and needed. So communication has to be part of the security element.
Simon, would you just wind up, and what's the role, in a nutshell, to you?
I think what I would say is relationships are a dance of two equal people. One may lead the dance but doesn't make them superior in the dance. And once you take up a leadership role, you just don't say you're the leader. You realize that you go first. That you're giving of yourself to serve. Leadership is service. So just to say men and women together, let's take care of our relationship. We came into it because we needed it. Let's do everything necessary to make sure as men we play our role, and we listen a lot more to the women. And if we are not sure what the role is, they'll tell us. The issue of vocal. And then the women as well. Let's not age out the men. Let's realize we are doing this dance together. Let's do it well, and everyone will be happy.
All right. Well, I need you to keep the conversation going on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Facebook. The hashtag is KTN Life and Style, and talk to Pastor Chris. What do you think is the role of the man today? You know, there's a lot of women who say they're no men. Some say they're no good men. And then sometimes, you know, the question is, what is this that we say? Be a man. Because men are being told every time, be a man. Simon loves to watch movies and talk about them. I have my favorite that is called John Q, based on a true story. One time then the wife says to the man, do something. And I know there's a lot of men who know that that statement is very familiar. Do something, be a man. What does that mean to you? We want to hear your thoughts. Keep the conversation coming. My Style Story is coming up next.